All right, coming at you with another mock draft. The draft's coming up in a couple of weeks. I did the Jets previously. Now I'm going to go with another team with multiple picks in the first round. I'm going to focus on the Cleveland Browns here. So, going into this draft, the Browns do have some big needs specifically on offense. So, our goals of this draft for the Browns, we're looking for a franchise left tackle. They've done a really good job building up their offensive line, basically rebuilding it entirely. So they traded for Titus Howard. He's going to be the right tackle. They've signed Elgton Jenkins, who was released by the Packers. He's going to fit in at center. They signed Zion Johnson at guard, who there was an overpay getting him in here, but he's a solid left guard, and he'll fit in and play on the interior part of the offensive line. And then they signed Tevin Jenkins as well, who I would think is probably going to be either the right guard or maybe even some swing tackle he can play. He can play multiple positions on the line. But the one piece on the offensive line the Browns are still missing is left tackle. So they need a left tackle to complete the rebuild here. Their other big need, of course, they need a true number one wide receiver. So there's been a lot of talk, right, that Carnell Tate, that's been the connection to the Browns, and it makes sense to Columbus, local guy. The Browns need a number one true wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy, he's been solid, but he's more of a wide receiver too. So if you can find a guy to play opposite of Jerry Jeudy, I really believe that Jeudy could get closer to those numbers that he put up in 2024 on a more consistent basis. Right? Because outside of Jeudy, the Browns, their wide receiver depth chart, they don't have much, right? Cedric Tillman's been kind of a disappointment. They have Tylan Wallace there. They have Malachi Corley. Those guys aren't going to cut it. So definitely focusing on the offensive side of the ball with our early round picks here. And then as we get into the later rounds, I'm going to look for some depth on defense here for the Browns, specifically a defensive tackle. I'm going to see if we can help out their run defense and then safety too, because outside of Grant Delpit, there's really not much there at safety. Now, for those of you also might be thinking, hey, well, what about quarterback? Well, right, the Browns have come out and said there's going to be an open competition between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson for that starting job. So they also have Dylan Gabriel still on the roster, so it's really not a good situation to drop a rookie quarterback in. This season, the Browns will be better off just keeping their current three that they have and holding off on that quarterback until 2027. Todd Monken was just hired. He's not on the hot seat. The pressure isn't as turned up right now. So it makes more sense for the Browns to evaluate what they have in the current building, build up that offense, and then next season you draft your QB. So entering the draft here, right? So the Browns pick first round picks 6 and 24. Then they have a second round pick at 39, their third round picks at 70, and their fourth round picks at 107. So let's jump into the draft here. I'm using Pro Football Network's mock draft. I like their format that they use. So we're going to do 7 rounds for the Browns. We're going to go with consensus. So this now with pick number 6, I'd really like to find my wide receiver if it's going to be Carnell Tate. He's expected to be a top 10 pick. So let's see how this falls out. Of course, you're going to have the Raiders going to go quarterback here, right, with Mendoza. The Jets go Arvell Reese. Cardinals, David Bailey. Titans, Jeremiah Love. And the Giants just took Sonny Styles. So pick number 6, we have our top receiver on the board in Carnell Tate. We've got an offer from the Eagles here, which is just a pretty good, I mean, we're basically getting offered their entire draft, right? So what we could do in this scenario, if this scenario did play it out, so the Eagles want pick number 6, and they're offering us pick 23, 54, 68, 98, and their 2027 second round pick. So they're basically offering us their entire draft class to come up to 6. Now, if I was going to make this trade, I'm not going to make this trade, but if I was going to make this trade, right, you'd have picks 23 and 24 back to back, which it's not going to cut it for the top receiver that we want here, which is Tate. So what I could look to do if I wanted to get crazy, I could accept this trade. We'd have a lot more picks, and we'd have the second round pick in a loaded 2027 class. But with that said, then I would probably have to trade up. I might have to move 23 and 24 to get back up into like the mid round if there's a wide receiver that I really want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reject this trade, and we're going to play it safe here at number 6. We're going to take Carnell Tate, and that's our wide receiver 1. So you've got Tate, you've got Jeudy now in that wide receiver 2 spot, which fits him better. And we're going to see here what we're going to have at 24. Let's just pause real quick. So Monroe Freeling just went, who I really, really like Monroe Freeling. So at pick number 18, let's just take a look at how the board's looking here. Caden Proctor from Alabama is still here on the board at 22. If I'm looking ahead here, I mean, Eagles, the Chargers, even the Steelers, some of these teams might be looking for tackles here. We have Caden Proctor here. We still have Caleb Lomu here as well, who can play left tackle. So we've got two guys on the board here. Blake Miller's still down here too. A lot of people really like him. On our last pod that me and Tom did, we talked a lot about how Blake Miller is very good in pass protection. So let's keep rolling through the draft here. I don't expect two guys that go before we draft here. Thiemann goes, Proctor just went, and the Eagles took Denzel Boston. So let's see, before we go into the big board, we have some trades being offered here. The Saints, they're looking to come up. I'm not trying to trade back that far, though. And then the Packers are trying to trade up. They're trading us a lot of their draft and a second-round pick next year. But again, I'm not looking to get crazy. I'm just trying to fill these needs right now. So we have Caleb Lomu here, who can play left tackle from Utah, right? He was the left tackle last year, playing opposite of Spencer Fano. He's up here, and we also have Blake Miller up here. Blake Miller has really risen up the board, and he might not be a name that Browns fans are too familiar with him or not, right? Played at Clemson. He's very durable, too. He played every game at Clemson. What I'm looking to do, so if I want to choose, I know Lomu is higher here on the board. I think I'm going to go Blake Miller here at left tackle, though, because I know that Blake Miller, he can be coached up in run blocking. Sometimes you can't always coach up guys for pass blocking like you can run blocking some of these tackles. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draft Blake Miller here as our left tackle at pick number 24. So now we've got our wide receiver 1. We've got our starting left tackle. And then we have another pick coming up at 39. So let's see. I might want to add to the interior of the defense here. Let's see what we've got. Let's see. Buffalo is offering us a bunch of picks here to come up. And then we've got the Broncos here offering pick 62. Let's take a look. Who's on the board here at 39? Where else can we go here? So we've got Caden McDonald's up here, would be fantastic for the Browns. If the board dropped out like this, I don't think Caden McDonald's going to be available here at 39. But another guy who's very good on the interior. He's a pretty good run defender too. He was basically like a nose tackle at Ohio State. So what we're going to do, I mean, this is phenomenal for the Browns. If I'm a Browns fan, I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. This is a no-brainer. Caden McDonald at 39. I mean, this is fantastic. Ty Simpson just went to the Jets at 44. Wow, even Ty is here late on the board. And I went by consensus on the draft board. I should pick that up. Like, Casey Concepcion's still here. So our next pick is at 70. I might look for a defensive back. I might even look for another wide receiver somewhere in this draft. Eli Stowers, Mike Washington. All right, we're in the third round here. And pick number 70 is here. See, this is a little ridiculous now. Like, Caleb Banks is still on the board. The Jets are offering us a bunch of picks to come up here. They probably want Caleb Banks. I mean, we just took Caden McDonald. We really don't need Caleb Banks. When's our next pick? Our next pick's at 107. So I'm not really looking to drop back. It's kind of a big gap here between picks. Yeah, I mean, I can get a little crazy here. I mean, we can drop all the way back to 103, but you got Derek Moore's here from Michigan. Max Clare from Ohio State is here. Elijah Surratt's here. Corners, we're getting kind of low on Kamari Ramsey's here. It's kind of a little late for him. But again, we're not picking again till 107. So if we want to take Ramsey here with our pick here, it would make some sense. So what I'm going to do, I am going to go with Kamari Ramsey here because I'm looking to fill this need, and he won't be around by the time we're picking at pick number 107. So let's take Kamari Ramsey here at 70. Elijah Surratt, Skylar Bell, Bud Clark just went, so been a little run here on receivers. Bryce Lance from North Dakota State. Caleb Banks went at 82. Wow. You got Dominique Orange in there, the big citrus. He's still on the board. But yeah, so we've hit up a lot of our needs, right? We got a left tackle. We got a receiver. We got a defensive tackle. And we got a safety here. So let's see what we're probably picking best available now at pick 107. Eli Raridan just went. Justin Jolie. A couple of tight ends are off the board. You know what? I may even do this trade with the Colts right now. So the Colts want pick 107 and pick 206 for pick 113 and 156. I think, I wouldn't mind giving up that pick at 206, and we can even move up with pick 156 there. Let's see who's on the board right here. You got Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina. We just took Kamari Ramsey. Deontay Lawson, who's a linebacker. It's not a big need. Logan Jones, the center. You can probably upgrade the interior there for backup. Romello Height. Brian Parker. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to make this trade with the Colts. So we're going to trade 107 and 206, and we're going to pick up 113 and 156. Let's make that trade. The Colts, they wanted Jalen Kilgore. We already got Ramsey, so we didn't need Kilgore at safety here. Now we're coming up again here, so no offers are coming in. Let's see what else. Maybe there's a couple corners here, actually, which actually, that was the next position I was looking at here for the Browns, was the cornerback position. You got Will Lee here from Texas A&M. He's got good size at 6'1". You got Devin Moore here, another guy who's really big from Florida, 6'3", 198. And then you got Takario Davis, who's a corner from Washington, who's got really good size as well. I'm going to go Will Lee from Texas A&M. Add to that corner room. Then our next pick coming up is at pick 146. Again, we're just going to go best player available here. And we'll see. Maybe we'll add another player to the offensive line. Maybe somebody on the interior just for some depth. Maybe even a running back. We could look at running back as well. Right? Quinshon Judkins behind him. There's really not much. So I wouldn't mind looking at a running back here. Katron Allen is still on the board. I don't think he's going to last by the time we get to 146. Wow, and he is on the board. Katron Allen is still here. Carson Beck is here too. So I will say this. I said I wouldn't take a quarterback, right? But Carson Beck, remember, he was at the University of Georgia when Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator when they won those national championships. So at this point, maybe Monken might be interested in a guy like Carson Beck. Maybe there's a relationship there. I don't know. But that might be in consideration here. Of course, I'm going to stick with my plan. I'm not going to take a quarterback. I'm going to take a running back here. You've got Seth McGowan, too, from Kentucky, who's more of like a bigger back, right? He's 6'1", 215. He's got good size. And Katron Allen, he's more on the small, right? He's still 217. He's a little smaller, 5'11". I'm gonna go Katron Allen here. I'm gonna take him. And then we have another pick coming up right here, right? At pick 149. You've got Carson Beck still on the board again. We're not taking him. Chris McClellan from Missouri. Dante Corleone, what a name. The Godfather. That's what they're calling him. The Godfather. Dante Corleone from Cincinnati. Let's see. If I'm the Browns, let's see. I might want to add to the interior of the offensive line. Matt Goulbin here is a center from Michigan State. He's actually ranked number 5 center, but let's take him. Let's add to the interior of our offensive line here. Then we got another pick coming up, a pick 156. Is that our last pick? We got 2 more. All right, so we got this pick, and then we got a late pick at 248. So Cleveland here at pick 156. Carson Beck's still on the board. Drew Aller's here comes Drew Aller. You know what? Maybe we'll try to upgrade the pass rush here. Anthony Lucas, who's an edge from USC. He's a big edge, 6'5", 285. Let's see. He compares to, Braden McGregor, Tyler Barron, these former guys on the Jets who are just not good. Bo Stevens at guard. Taylon Green, there's our hero from the combine. Taylon Green's available here. I think at this pick, got another linebacker here. Roman Hemby's here from Indiana. Harold Perkins, who was, he was a highly recruited 5-star recruit out of high school. Harold Perkins. He's a linebacker. We could use some linebacker help. I mean, I don't know what the status is going to be at JOK, right, going forward. His career might be over from what I've heard. I'm going to add a linebacker. I'm going to jump on Harold Perkins. Why not? Linebacker from LSU. Add some depth there, and then our last pick at 248 is coming up. The Steelers just drafted Carson Beck, which actually would make sense, right? Division rival Steelers I think they had a top 30 visit with Beck, so that makes sense to me that they would draft him even in a mock draft simulator here. So let me know how I did here, Browns fans. I'm going to make the last pick here to finish up the draft. Want to hear some comments, ratings? I'm not a Browns fan. This is everything from my understanding, speaking with Browns fans, that this is what they really need. Left tackle, definitely. We addressed it. Wide receiver 1, we addressed it. And I added some more depth on defense here at defensive tackle and at safety, which were the 2 primary needs on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, if you're going into training camp with a draft similar like this, where you have your left tackle, you have your wide receiver 1, You've got your quarterbacks competing for the job. I tell you, if they can get anything, I'm not a Shedeur Sanders guy. I'm just not. I was not impressed with him really at all last year. But Deshaun Watson, if you can get anything out of him, I mean, I really believe that the Browns could compete for the division next year. If their defense, it may not be as good as it was last year, but if they're still like a top 10 defense in the league. So here's the last pick at 248. I might even want to grab another wide receiver here. Barry Brown, the wide receiver from LSU. I remember him over there. Chase Roberts from BYU. I'm just going to grab this kid from LSU. Barry Brown with the 7th round pick. And then we'll complete the draft here, and we'll take a look at everything at the end. Broncos had pick 257, Mr. Irrelevant. All right, so here were our results. I mean, I think I did pretty well here. So we got Carnell Tate, like I said, at receiver. Blake Miller's our left tackle of the future. We got Caden McDonald in the middle. Kamari Ramsey at safety. I traded back. Ended up with Will Lee, and then we got Katron Allen and Matt Goulbin, too. We added some good depth here at running back, on the offensive line, at receiver, and at linebacker. I mean, you let me know, Browns fans. How did I do? Please give us some comments. Please give us some ratings. And I'm probably going to bang out another one of these mock drafts for another team probably sometime later this week. Have a good one.